Hello again and welcome back to Simply Mobile. Anyway, I'm rambling on, watch this. What you are currently looking at is footage from a music video that I filmed 2 weeks ago using this phone, the Samsung S21 Ultra. This phone has like a film crew hanging out the back of it. Wait till you see this. So the Samsung S21 Ultra. This phone has by far the most advanced camera system I have ever used in a mobile phone. There's 5 cameras on this thing. One of course is your selfie camera, but you have pretty much a film crew on the back. This thing has 108 megapixels on it. 108. Pretty exceptional when you consider the fact that a professional photographer's camera is usually around 24. This has 108. As if 100 wasn't enough. Stick another 8 on that bad boy. Let's forget about the selfie camera for a minute. Selfie camera's a selfie camera. Everyone knows what a selfie camera does. It's got all these filters, makes women look beautiful, makes men look like babies. Let's talk about the specifications for the 4 cameras on the back. This is the bit where I look intelligent. A 108 megapixel mains camera, a 12 megapixel ultra wide with autofocus, and 2 zoom lenses. A 10 megapixel 10 times folded periscope zoom, and a traditional 10 megapixel 3 times telephoto, with dual pixel autofocus and OIS. Yeah, so I don't actually know what any of that means, but I can show you what it looks like. So if you open up the camera and you look to the right hand side, you will see all 4 of the cameras. This is the ultra wide, this is the basic pan of a landscape. If we go to this 108 megapixel mains camera, this is the kind of standard you're looking at. It then goes to a 3 times zoom camera, which then goes on to a 10 times zoom camera. Now if we just freeze the frame here, so notice that the 10 times zoom camera is 10 times, but that doesn't mean that that's its limit. If you look above it, there's a 20 times zoom. You can actually zoom in 20 times when you're videoing on this phone. Even better than that, if you're taking a photo on this phone, you can zoom in 100 times. I have no idea why you would need 100 times zoom on a phone, but if for whatever reason you're not happy with the 100 times zoom, go get a telescope. Alright, this is a phone. Moving on. Okay, so I know you're thinking every phone can film landscapes in pretty good detail, but what about close-ups? This is my subject, this big mouldy wooden Scottish fence post. Starting with the ultra wide, as you can see the detail is clear as day and you can see a little bit of depth of field there in the background. If you go to the normal camera, look at that. The depth of field gets stronger, yet the detail in the foreground gets stronger also. If I go around the top of this post, back down, and we go to the first zoom, look at that. Now this is where it gets special for me. Watch this, the 10 times zoom. Ready? Boom. Look at that. I'm just waiting for David Attenborough to say something. Now, just to give you an overall look of what we're looking at here, you see this tiny little black dot? That's an incy wincy little spider. Now watch what happens when I go from ultra wide to the 10 times zoom. Look at that. Again, David Attenborough, mate, where are you? It's absolutely incredible. You can go from this to this in the click of a button, and this is a 10 times zoom. Remember, it goes up to 100. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Doodle, this is awesome. Wait till you see this. When people say, what do you do when you're bored, Ryan? I say, I just draw stuff in mid-air and then walk around them as if they were real objects. Now it doesn't matter where I go in this field, that will stay there. And I can go away for a little walk, or I can come back later and it's exactly where I left it. Now believe me when I tell you I have lost hours playing with this thing. It's amazing and there's no limits. Say for instance you wanted to write happy birthday to your pal. You could film yourself writing happy birthday and then send it to them. And they're all like, oh my god, like, how'd you do that? Like, what the hell? What kind of phone have you got? And you're like, I've got this. And then they're like, I want that, and that's what I'm getting. Or something to that effect. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so let's talk about the very intimidating Pro Mode. I absolutely love Pro Mode. I've always used Pro Mode. However, it can be very daunting for people. I'm not going to go into too much detail about Pro Mode in this video because there's quite simply too many features to explain in one video alone. But you might want to hit subscribe because next week I will be doing a full video tutorial on Pro Mode, when you should use it, how you should use it, and how you shouldn't use it. Understanding Pro Mode can be the difference between taking very amateur photographs to taking very sharp, very professional looking photographs. So tune in next week to see that. In the meantime, for example, you can alter the background, the foreground, the midground, you can isolate specific objects, you can change the colouring, the saturation, contrast. There's a lot you can do in Pro Mode and I will be showing you how to do that next week. Okay, so the legendary panorama shot. Now the panorama feature has been around for a while, but let's be honest, it's still fun. For those of you who don't know what panorama is, panoramas basically provide you with a wider viewing angle than ordinary photos. The camera takes multiple photos of objects within our visual field and stitches them together into one long single photo, like so. Portrait mode. This one is pretty self-explanatory, great for YouTubers, great for the self-obsessed, and all it does is identifies your face and in doing so can blur the background, adding depth of field to your video, making it look very professional. Slow motion. It's amazing what this does, and what it does is it makes things go in slow motion. See how rocks fall faster than that usually. If that wasn't slow enough for you, there's also super slow motion if I launch this rock and then bang. Now I have no idea what the frame per second rate is on the super slow-mo, but that is really clean. Okay, I get the gist. This next feature is called Director's View, and this is very handy for parents who have children who can't sit still. And what this does is it allows you to record on all cameras at the same time, allowing you to jump from each camera as and when required. Very handy. Another great feature of this camera is the Hyperlapse feature, which will speed up anything you record. For example, this is me taking a nice little stroll in the lashing rain for your benefit this morning. This is a really cool feature to have if you are an artistic person, say. For example, I have a friend who does very detailed and very realistic drawings that sometimes take up to 10 hours to complete. He can record himself using the Hyperlapse feature, and his followers can watch these compositions coming together in a matter of minutes using this feature. Very, very cool. If you would like to get your hands on one of these phones, there is a link in the description that will take you to the best prices on the market. Or you can go somewhere else and get ripped off, you know what I mean? Anyway, I think that's plenty. I've got things to do. You've probably got the gist. Hit subscribe if you can't live without me. If you like this video, then hit like, because that makes sense. If you don't, well... Anyway, I'll see you next week for another romantic mini hack. Bye bye. Why is there dust floating around? Do you know what I mean?